Hi guys, my name is Lindsay Marson. One of my big goals this year was to start a YouTube channel to bring awareness to neurofibromatosis as well as congenital pseudarthrosis, both of which I do have and I have had since I was able to walk. So I have been on this earth for 24 years. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what each entails, and I had posted on a Facebook group that I'm a part of. It's kind of a support group for, people or mothers with children that have NF and congenital pseudarthrosis, since both kind of go hand in hand. I'll get into that a little bit later, but basically I posted that this was, an idea of mine, and had a pretty overwhelming response, and everybody was just loving it, and I have tons of questions that I'm going to answer in today's video. So to start out, I just want to kind of give you guys the Google definition of what neurofibromatosis is, as well as congenital pseudarthrosis. So neurofibromatosis from Google is a genetic disorder of the nervous system. It mainly affects how nerve cells form and grow. So it causes tumors to grow on the nerves. You can get NF either from a parent or from a genetic mutation. In my case, it was a genetic mutation. None of my parents have it. Nobody in my family has it. I was just lucky. Same with pseudarthrosis. So pseudarthrosis is a little bit different. In my case, I have it in my tibia, or on my tibia, however you want to put it. But basically, pseudarthrosis is a bone fracture that just fails to heal. If I fracture or break a bone in my right leg, it 99.9% of the time will not heal fully, ever. And that is with intervention as well. So I have pins, plates, all sorts of things. The way I kind of explain it is that your bone is like a tree trunk. Mine is like a stick, You find a stick in the woods, you step on it, it's gonna break. You find a tree trunk in the woods, you step on it, it's gonna support you. My tibia, unfortunately, can break me just walking across the parking lot, is how a lot of the doctors that I've seen put it. Alrighty, so the next question is, what kind of surgeries have you had, and how many leg surgeries have you had? So I have had quite a few different surgeries. I've had surgery on my leg, as well as surgery for NF to remove tumors. I have also had bone grafts as well in both my hips, one of them twice. So I guess we can kind of start from the beginning, when I was little. So I'm just gonna count these in my head because there's a lot. So 1, 2, 3 on my leg when I was little, 3 up until kindergarten, because kindergarten, I will never forget when that little girl kicked me. It was an accident, I think, and I fractured my leg, and I had to have surgery. They actually put a rod in at that point. So 3, and then I had surgery on my stomach to remove a tumor from NF. I had surgery right here on my arm to remove a tumor from NF. Actually, literally just 4 days ago, I had surgery on 3 different areas to remove tumors. One being right here. I don't really know if you can see it that well, but you can see lovely stitches up there. I've actually had this one removed twice. The big thing when you are removing these tumors is they can come back. And this one, of course, the only one that I have that's like really visible on my face, just comes back every time. So let's cross our fingers and hope that it doesn't come back this time. I also had one removed on my arm. That was a few days ago. And then the big one that I just had removed on my thigh, which I can insert pictures. This was one of the biggest ones I have. It was one of the most painful ones. It was not pretty. It was right on my left thigh, and I wore a Band-Aid, one of those big Band-Aids over it all the time, so nobody would look at it and ask questions. So that is finally gone. I had so many doctors look at it and say, oh my God, we're gonna have to do this, that, the other thing, and it was just like this whole scary situation. And then finally I went to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Maryland, and the neurosurgeon was awesome, and he said, we can do it, no problem. Just gain like 60 pounds so I got enough skin to close you up. So I couldn't gain 60 pounds. I tried. I ate like as many cheesesteaks as I could, but it just didn't work. So neurosurgeon and plastic surgeon both tag teamed for that, and finally it's gone. And I go back in a few days to get stitches out and see how it looks. So I will be posting on Instagram an update about that. So if you do want to follow me, I will link everything down below. I'm going to really try hard to edit this video. I don't know what I'm doing, like I said, so we'll see how that goes. So, oh gosh, I'm not done with the surgery. I was gonna go to the next question. So my leg, I just won't go into detail about like the little surgeries, and I love how I'm saying little surgeries. I mean, they were just, compared to some of them, it's just, you know, you're in and you're out. So the two main surgeries that I've had on my leg, I've had two external fixators. If you don't know what that is, it's basically this device that goes into your bones, like actual pins in your bone, coming out of your skin, surrounded by a halo. And then you crank them each night, and the bone inside, which is broken in the OR by the doctor, gets separated. It's called turning. So you turn the rods for about 3 months or however long you are told to turn these rods, and then your bone just keeps getting, you know, the gap keeps getting wider, and then you stop, and then the bone fills in. And then however long it takes the bone, you know, the bone to fill in, that's when the fixator is removed, a rod or a pin or a plate is placed, and you're good to go. So I've had that twice, once for 6 months, the other time for 8 months, not too long ago, about 2 years ago. I've had pins, plates, rods that have slipped up into my knee, emergency surgeries, all that good stuff. So that's basically all the surgery. Like I said, I've had 3 bone grafts from my hips and put into my leg to try and speed the healing up. The reason that one fixator was 8 months, the one a few years ago, was because of the fact that my bone just would not heal. And it was so frustrating because the whole process was really supposed to be only 4 months, and it ended up being 8. So that just goes to show you, you know, that's really what pseudarthrosis does, is it just does not want your bone to heal. All right, so what is your leg like now? Now it's great. I mean, I do have my problems, but I'm in a full knee, ankle, foot orthotic, and I wear it every single day, 24/7. And I cannot walk without it. I never have walked without it, and I never will walk without it. Okay, when did your leg first break? When I was 3. My leg first broke when I was 3. I fell down the steps, and I was taken to the hospital, and bam, it's broken. And they put a rod in and everything, and yep, fun stuff. How has your leg affected your education, social life, and romantic life? Well, not so much my leg affecting my education, more so the NF aspect of things. Neurofibromatosis is also known as NF, in case anybody is confused, because NF does come with a bit of a learning disability. I am smart, but it just takes me a minute or two to really grasp something. So math was my biggest struggle. I still to this day, like, I am terrified when my children come home and they're like, hey, I got math homework, help me. And I'm gonna be like, all right, you're gonna need to ask Alexa because I have no idea. My social life, meh. I mean, I can't tell you if it was necessarily the leg that affected my social life or if it was just me being socially awkward, but yes, kids were mean. Yes, kids were rude. Of course, kids didn't want to talk to me because I was different. But I still have 2 or 3 really, really good friends that I still talk to from high school that will, you know, forever be my friends. They will be in my wedding. You know, they'll be there for all my major events that I go through in my life, and they have been. And it just kind of takes that special person to look past that difference. And I say difference because honestly, seriously, if you really do not want to talk to me because I got a few bumps on and I got a brace that I wear 24/7, then something's wrong with you, not wrong with me. And then romantic life. I've been in a relationship for a little over 2 years now. He's the best thing in the whole world. He doesn't even give it a second thought. He's been with me through all the surgeries that I've had since we've been together. So it's just a matter of finding that special person that, you know, can look past the differences. And like I said, it's such a shame that you even have to say that, you know, you even have to worry about that. It's just ridiculous to me. But unfortunately, it is a thing. Just wait for that right person. I promise you that they will come along. Okay, next question. Today, how much does your leg affect you? Like, is it something that you constantly worry about? Does it hurt? Or is it a non-issue that you don't think about? I will be completely honest with you. Sometimes I completely forget that my leg is even in a brace. It's been so long. I don't even remember that I have this brace on. So basically, the other day, I was talking to my boyfriend and I was like, oh my God, like I'm so excited. I just got this big tumor removed from my thigh. Now people won't stare at me. And then I was like, oh my God, wait a minute. People are gonna stare at me no matter what. I have a giant robotic leg on, like duh. So that's just an example. That's a moment where I completely forgot. It just went over my head because I don't see anything different about myself besides that I have a leg brace. And it's honestly, it's nothing. I mean, people make assumptions all the time. And there's something that I struggle with is when people come up to me and they're like, ooh, ACL tear. And I'm like, like, what do I say? Do I go into the whole spiel like, hey, I have this, and broke my leg 30 million times and I've had 10,000 surgeries? And no, because then I feel bad. I feel like they feel like, they feel bad that they assumed. But, what else are they going to do? And people do stare and it's fine. I mean, that's just life. And I try my hardest to ignore all of that. And my biggest thing is if you have a question, if you want to know what's wrong with me, come up to me and ask me because I will be more than happy to tell you. I don't have a sob story. This made me who I am today. You know what I mean? So that's my take on that. I don't constantly think about it or worry about it. I mean, of course, there are times we all have our moments when we're like, oh my God, why me? Why me? Why me? Like, I wish I could look like this person, or if only, I could just be normal. But at the end of the day, I would not be who I am or where I am today if it was not for my leg. And then does it hurt? So it kind of depends. Like, so I actually have this one plate in my ankle, and it's really sensitive. Like, even to like a light touch, it hurts a lot. And I actually did see a new surgeon about this because of the fact that I aged out of my children's hospital, which is so sad because I loved all my doctors there and it just makes me so sad. But I saw this new surgeon and he said, yeah, it's no problem. We can take the plate out, but, and then he gave me all these fracture, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, it's painful, but I can live with it, and I'd rather not go through another surgery again and the potential risk of having to heal a fracture all over again for 8 months. You know what I mean? So that's basically it. I mean, it hurts when I walk a lot, and that's more so the uncomfortableness of like the brace rubbing up against my ankle or whatever. Is there anything you cannot do today? Yeah, there are a few things. I will never be able to ice skate. I shouldn't ever be able to ski or do anything like that, rollerblade, that kind of stuff. Like, I can't run. Again, I don't know if that's a me thing because I really don't want to run. I'm kind of blessed. I never had to run the mile in gym. Do you know how lucky I am? I consider myself very lucky. If you had one piece of advice for parents who have kids with NF, what would it be? I would say, and it's funny because I was kind of reading these aloud and my mom and dad were sitting in the other room and my dad goes, treat them like your other kids. And that's exactly what they did. And that's like the best piece of advice in my opinion. Treat them like your other kids. Do not treat them any different because they aren't different. And to be honest with you, yes, there is going to be circumstances where you are going to need to treat them just a little bit differently. Like I said, my parents, just because I had this did not stop them from going to Jack Frost and Big Boulder and going skiing, going to, ice skating. But guess what? I got a little special treatment too. I was always very into hair and makeup. So my sisters and my parents, we would all go to Jack Frost and Big Boulder. I would sit in the little lodge and watch them. And then when we were done, they would take me to get my nails done. So it was like a win-win situation for me. And I know it's not everybody's case, I'm sure that they're like little boys, all they want to do is go and play soccer or play a sport, and they unfortunately it's not possible with this. And maybe it is, maybe it's just me. I'm very protective because I don't ever want anything to happen to my leg. You get what I'm saying. Next question. So this one says, here are questions from my kids. How does NF and pseudarthrosis affect your life? Well, it doesn't really. The only thing it really affects my life is I can't do certain things like I just said, ice skate, rollerblade, I can't run. So there are just certain things that, a lot of people my age might be doing that I just have to be a little more cautious about. And then, how does it make you different from other people? Well, Physically, you can obviously see that I wear a brace. You can obviously see that I have like bumps and stuff all on my skin. Usually if I'm like wearing a tank top at the beach is very noticeable. So that's just how it makes me different physically. Are you treated differently from people? Yeah, definitely. So I would say that people, you know, I remember in high school, man, people were mean, and you know, you don't necessarily remember all the nice things people say to you. You remember the things that people say that are just, you know, that just stick with you, that are so mean. And I mean, I remember one time in high school, I was sitting at my desk in math class minding my business, and these 3 boys started limping around the classroom and staring at me and laughing. And I didn't understand. I was like, okay, like, but then it hit me later that obviously, who were they making fun of? Me. How did you get pseudarthrosis? I don't know. I really don't know. It was just a fluke. That's how my mom puts it. It was me, and I was the best person to get it because I think that no one else in my family could handle this, because you gotta have the attitude that I have. Do you get in trouble often? This is from my 9-year-old daughter whose 6-year-old brother has NF and pseudarthrosis. I'm dying laughing right now. Can you tell me we've had a long holiday break? Can you tell how long it's taken me to make this video? I literally posted this on holiday break and Christmas. So, and it's March. Do I get in trouble often? Not anymore, but I used to. So don't tell my mom and dad that. If you could go back in time, is there anything that you wish you or your parents or doctors did differently to your leg? No, not at all. And I guess I don't know if I'm like necessarily the best person to ask this, because I did not choose to go the amputation route, which certain people do. And to be honest with you, if my parents had chosen to amputate my leg, I would be, you know, completely fine with that. That would just be another thing that I would just have to get used to and everything. And I'd never, ever tell my parents that they did something to me that, you know, I didn't approve of when I was little. No, like they always had the best interest for me. And if that's something you're worried about as a parent, you know, when your children get older, you're worried that they're going to wonder why did you do that to me? No, not at all. That's not how we think. That's not how I think. I've never thought that. I was actually somewhere the other day and a lady had said to me, "Oh honey, your mom must feel so guilty." And I was like, what? This is not my mom's fault. Like, are you kidding me? This is not my mom's fault at all. Like, this is just something that happened to me, and I'm just taking, you know, you have to have a good attitude, really, is what it's all about at the end of the day. Advice for us parents who don't have experience with NF. How did your parents talk to you about NF? Do you have anything else to add for advice to us in having those kind of discussions? I'm worried about not giving enough information, but I'm worried about scaring her with all the possible outcomes. So basically, to be honest with you, I didn't really get that much information from my parents because I never asked. I never thought that what I had was like a huge deal. I never knew. As I got older, I got more interested just because I was starting to become more aware of the fact of what I had, what it was doing to my body. Oh my God, what are these new bumps growing all over me? You know what I mean? So that's when I really took it into my own hands and started doing my own research, which, you know, at the end of the day, that's a hard question to answer because it's like you said, you do not want to give them too much information, but at the same time, you don't want to withhold anything as well. Do you have a lot of pain with congenital pseudarthrosis or NF, and how do you treat it? So NF, meh, not so much. More so, I had one that I had removed on Thursday. And that I will insert pictures. I will also be posting updates on my Instagram after I go back to the doctor to get the stitches out because it was so painful and it was so big, like in my opinion anyway. So it was about this big and it was right on my left thigh. I had that removed and it was painful. If I bumped it up against anything, if I brushed it up against anything, it did hurt a lot. What are the best support systems in your life? Others with NF, family, medical staff, organizations, etc. First of all, family 100%. I mean, you just have to be there for them no matter what, just like my family was. Medical staff, oh my gosh, they are amazing. Like literally, I went to AI DuPont Hospital in Delaware. Ever since I was little, I could walk in those doors and they would say, "Hi, Lindsay." That's how much I was there, and that's how, you know, they knew me. They knew me as the Girl Scout girl. You know, I sold them cookies. The people that made my leg brace, the Walls Prosthetics, I walked in there, they'd be eating Wendy's on their lunch break. I'd be like, oh, can I have a French fry? Like, that is how amazing they were. And I'm actually still in contact with my surgeon secretary, and anytime I have questions or anything, I just send her a quick email. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm really nervous about this. Can you just see what my previous doctor would say about this, or anything like that? So definitely the hospital as well as family. I really would like to know how can a patient with congenital pseudarthrosis ever walk carefree and normally? We got our first surgery and the doctor said it would heal and be normal. I want to know, will the walking be painful, or like no one can tell something ever happened? So I think that that's different because it's different for everybody. Personally, for me, I have a limp. I know I have a limp. My limp was much more severe before I had my leg lengthened and straightened twice. I don't know if your child will ever walk normally, and I cannot answer that because I'm not a doctor, but from my personal experience, I know I walk well, but I definitely walk with a limp. I've had more people make fun of that than you would believe. It's like ridiculous. Really, I have a limp. You can obviously see I'm wearing a leg brace. There's a reason for it, so like, go on with your day. So I really hope that your child walks completely normally, because that would be awesome. All right. Secondly, how do we confirm NF type 1? What are your symptoms and struggles? How can NF1 affect your life? So I kind of went into how it affected my life a little earlier into the video, and as well as the symptoms, which I believe I'll have to confirm is around 7+ cafe au lait spots, aka birthmarks/tumors. I believe that you would have to go to a certain doctor to confirm that, and just see, you know, what the results are. How do you get NF1 if it's not in the family? So I don't exactly know, honestly. Like I said, my mom called it a fluke. It just happened. I believe it is a mutation of a gene. Why do I feel like it's 27? No, 17. I feel like it's chromosome 17. I'm pretty sure that's the mutation, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I started doing my own research when I got a little bit older, so definitely could be wrong, but you never know. So this is more of a personal question. Actually, the very last question that I have, what do you do for work? So I actually, when I graduated high school, I went to cosmetology school because I really wanted to be a hairstylist. Like I said earlier in the video, I always loved hair and makeup. I never really loved sports or anything, so this kind of worked out in my favor. I was always in my bedroom doing my makeup and, you know, testing out hair stuff and making little YouTube videos about hair tutorials and all that junk. Like I said, I went to school to be a hairstylist. I finished school, I graduated and got my cosmetology license, but unfortunately standing all day is not necessarily the best route to go for me. So I ended up sitting at the front desk a lot at the salon that I worked at, and I realized I really loved the front desk. I loved greeting people. I loved them, you know, remembering my name. I remember your name, that type of thing. It was so awesome. So I thought, you know what, this sounds so silly, but let me make a career of this. So I joined a company as the corporate headquarters front desk receptionist, and recently, about a year ago, I was promoted to a recruiter. So definitely don't think that NF or pseudarthrosis or anything like that is going to stop you from getting a good job or succeeding in life in any way. So that is all the questions that you guys had. I'm really sorry that it took me forever to film this video, but I'm so glad it's finally over. I definitely want to make more videos, so if you guys have any ideas whatsoever, definitely leave them in the comments down below. I will also link my Instagram down below as well, so that way you can follow me, and I will post updates of my NF journey as well as congenital pseudarthrosis as well as my personal life. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and definitely subscribe for more.